Alright, we'll get a new 30-minute game going. Let's see what we get today. We have the white pieces. 1e4. A lot of setups against 1e4. It's appropriate to take your time thinking. c6, d5, e6, e5, e6, g6, the modern. I bet you could do b6, fianchetto both of your bishops. I don't see why not. Lot of choices to choose from. You can develop a knight first. Knight f6, knight c6, both appropriate choices. We will simply see what our opponent comes up with. Well, our opponent has 10 seconds to make a decision. There we go. e5. Get our knights out. They play d6. Don't know a lot about this. I'll go ahead and develop normally. I don't see why we can't get our bishop out to b5 with check. Check on the third move feels a little bit saucy, but doesn't seem like the end of the world. I would love to see knight out to c6 here. Sort of transposing into a normal Roy Lopez. They get their pawn out instead. We'll go ahead and back up here. They play, geez, f5. I think a fairly weakening move. Something like this looks very dangerous. They don't have any pieces that they can block this check with, so they would have to move their king. Honestly, takes, queen out looks exceptionally dangerous. Why wouldn't we do that? How do they block it? They can't block it. They have to move their king to one of these two spots. And then I guess we can't take their pawn because their light squared bishop is guarding it. But we certainly have some options. We could also drop our light squared bishop back to guard this or attack this f7 square. Geez, maybe we'll play d3 and get castled first. Nothing too crazy. They take, we'll take back. Okay, I mean that doesn't protect against the check. Get ourselves castled, they get their knight out. That protects against the check. They get their knight guarding that h5 square. Now, what should we do? Get our knight out, sort of knight out like this. Looks decent. We don't need to go crazy. Maybe we just develop thoughtfully, actually. Let's, yeah, get our knights out. They've gone and weakened their position substantially, blocking in the dark squared bishop. Yeah, I don't think we're going to have too many problems here. They get their light squared bishop out. I like the idea of queen takes here. I guess they have two defenders on it, so maybe not so much. Sort of a nice thought. Back here. Takes like that. No, don't love that. Maybe rerouting our knight over here. Now let's get our bishop developed. Yeah, e3 looks as good as anything. a5, an interesting idea. Something like that. Puts them in check, and they don't have a good way to defend against it. Could hit their queen like this. I don't think that does anything for us. Let's see. Yeah, maybe just play our queen out to d2, d3. Tough choices. Tough choices. Can we get their knight out? I guess we could play our knight up like this. That looks pretty good. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that before we find a home for our queen. And then coming up here to g6 or here to f5, both look like good options. They play out maybe preparing to trap our bishop. That's probably the idea here. So if we played back, if we drop our bishop back, they could push a4 and then trap our bishop pretty effectively. Although we do have takes here. I do want to explore the option of knight takes on b5, pawn takes, and then bishop takes with check. They drop their bishop back to d7, and then I don't think we can do anything from there. Yeah, maybe we just trade light squared bishops. It seems to be the most expedient. And actually, I mean, that's sort of forced because their light squared bishop is hanging. Incredibly, they don't have any way to defend that piece other than maybe getting their queen out. And if we trade, I mean, that makes this square all the more appealing. How should we take back? I think maybe with our a pawn, opening up our rook a little bit. Taking with our c pawn doesn't seem to open up anything, so I like taking with the a pawn. Yeah, strange game so far. I'm excited to see where it goes. They take a pawn. Okay. I think the idea is they take opening up this attack on our knight. So if we take here, then they come in and take our knight. But this opens up the very juicy check, queen to h5 check, which they don't have a good way to defend against. I think they will have to move their king, and then we can pick up their knight for free. They don't have a light squared bishop anymore. They traded it away by making all these somewhat frivolous pawn moves. King comes out to one of these squares. Perhaps inviting another check. If it comes out to e7, we have, I guess we had knight to g6 check, but we have a couple of options. Queen to f7 and queen to f5. Both of these come with check. One of them a little bit more forcing. I think I guess maybe forcing the king back to c8 or the bishop to e7. The other one, just sort of forking the king and the knight, which looks really good. I think we should go for that. I guess we have this as well. Sort of 6 of 1. Yeah, our opponent resigns. They're going to lose a piece. Quick game. Looks like we're under 10 minutes on the clock. Yeah, not much to report here. I think it's going to be a quick review. Probably some incredible accuracy, 89.4.
Starting with your king's pawn is a versatile.
Yeah, we don't need that. Let's switch to the analysis board. Got 13 moves to review. 5f3, d6, the last book move. I guess this is the Philidor defense. I don't have a great win rate against this, so maybe something to inspect in the future. We have another bishop. We move, drop back. They push. They've made 4 pawn moves so far. 5, 6. They make 7 pawn moves, or 6 pawn moves before they develop a piece. and we're able to, we've got 2 pieces developed here, 3 pieces. Yeah, so we've got a pretty substantial lead on development. Engine favors white slightly here. I'm not surprised it's not a lot, but they just make so many pawn moves. Yeah. It's not looking good. They take, we take back. I guess C takes was a little bit better. Yep. Knight takes E4 is a blunder. We hit them with check. They move to D7. Yeah, I mean, coming up next is likely 4 king here. King drops back, and then we take their knight somehow, some way. Yep. And then huge advantage for white. Okay. Quick game today, putting us to an all-time high of 1125. Probably just record another game real quick, and I'll release it tomorrow. All right, see you all in the next one.